My name is Tim Ford. I'm the lead gameplay programmer on Overwatch.
I'm Jeff Kaplan. I'm the game director on Overwatch.
I'll start, from a technical standpoint, right after beta launch, we happened to just have one of our regularly scheduled all-hands engineering meetings, and our tech director got up, and he's been with Blizzard for a long time. He was tech director. Mike Elliott was tech director on World of Warcraft for a number of years before he joined our squad. And he said this is one of the smoothest launches that he's ever experienced at Blizzard. Unfortunately for us, that sets a really high bar with the rest of the organization, so we can only go downhill from here. So wish us luck going forward. But I personally am so proud of my guys and our team for how well the deployment went, and I feel like we're getting such wonderful feedback from players that it's really paying dividends already.
Yeah, I think the vision of the game has been realized. The players who are experiencing the game or watching the game see the core loop and understand the fun of the game. We're seeing the heroes evolve and the strategies evolve and what heroes are picked. The team compositions have become very fluid at this point. You see less people locking in and only playing one hero. So we feel like it's going great. Behind the scenes, we've done a lot of changes to the matchmaker. It's one of the top things that we're sort of tuning and adjusting during the beta process. Tim already mentioned that the technical systems were doing well. We're trying to prepare for scalability, and in terms of game design, we need to watch. Everybody needs to settle down a little bit and understand the game. It's good to have the snapshot of what happens when new players approach the game and don't yet fully understand it. And then it's going to be exciting to watch. Okay, now they're getting really good. They're understanding the game on a deeper level. Where exactly is the game balance at? And so far, it's feeling pretty good. Hero switching makes balancing far easier for us. We don't have to worry about a situation where you're locked in. You've picked Tracer on Hanamura point A, and you have no option of switching off of her. The fact that there could be 21 heroes in play at any time means that there are numerous counters. There's kind of this myth out there that there's a single counter for every hero, but the truth is, name some of the ways you can take out a Bastion.
Straight away with the heroes that we have in the beta right now, we have our new indirect fire hero with Junkrat. Tracer can flank around. Reaper can easily flank around. I'm a big fan of doing the splash damage as Pharah. Invariably, Bastions put their back against the wall. You just put a rocket behind that, and it gets into the squishy robot in the middle.
Pharah. Symmetra.
Symmetra just shoots through the barrier. Reinhardt just shoots through the barrier. If you can just
Zarya.
Yeah.
I think there's this idea out there that okay, who is the counter to this hero? And it's not rock paper scissors. There's kind of usually a school of heroes that can take out a school of other heroes.
Yeah, and that's we don't want to constrain you. We want you to feel like you can mix and match these heroes in any sorts of crazy combinations.
We had a moment in the beta. I don't know if you were there when we were doing it. It involved Adrian. So he decided he wanted to play Roadhog. And
that's a shock.
That was his go-to character. And we were talking about team composition, how are we going to win this next match? And he volunteered, who was the Roadhog player. I believe we need 5 Mercies. And I will play Roadhog.
I wasn't in this match, but I have heard about this match. Yeah.
So we almost obliged. We went 4 Mercies and 1 Zenyatta, and this was on the King's Row map, and we were attacking. And we actually made it we almost won the map, which I would have thought was inconceivable with the team composition we had. We almost won the map. They got very smart, and they counterpicked and they went with 2 Bastions at a 90-degree angle in the final room. And there was sort of no way for us to keep up. The strat had more to do with resurrection at the right time than anything else. But we actually lost. But I would have never thought we would have even gotten as far as we did with that composition. So that's what's awesome about the game. That's what's sort of game defining about Overwatch is those moments.
It's kind of fun. Game development, you combine all these sensibilities from a whole bunch of different folks with different disciplines, right? I'm an engineer with a computer science background. Jeff's a game director with an English background from some school I'm not going to talk about. I've worked with history majors. I've worked with PhDs in lit. right? And everyone kind of brings their own ideas to the table. And Overwatch is really just like this wonderful crucible where all these different sensibilities can spring forth these amazing ideas. So sometimes our assistant art director, Arn Sang, will come up with this amazing concept work, and we'll say, oh my gosh, we can make that work. We can fit this hero in. Sometimes it'll be a gameplay idea. We want the hero that fires rockets and is also a rocket. And then Arn will figure out how to make that look the right spot, and then
May was kind of like that.
Yeah,
like
actually,
we wanted an ice frosty character.
Yeah.
We wanted to play around with ice wall and freezing people.
And she was probably half a dozen different nationalities before we settled on who she really is. And that was actually great because we'd been talking about that type of hero for quite some time, but we really kind of built her late in the development cycle when we already had this fairly diverse cast, and it became really simple. Not just to choose her nationality, but it became much easier to try to figure out how to make her unique. And Arn, at some point in time, passed around a couple concepts of her kind of out of her parka, just doing her thing as this kind of geeky scientist person, and the team just totally enamored with her. Like, oh my God, this is it. This is the sauce right here. And that's when May's personality kind of came out. So it's fun. It's fun to have all these different sensibilities come to play in making the game, because there's gameplay to it. There's the fantasy of it. There's the diversity of that nationality or that ethnicity that comes into play, and they all come down to these tight 21 wonderful little packages.
We track a lot of statistics, but one of the ones we look at the most frequently is the win-loss ratios on the different maps. We also look at those win-loss ratios based on amount of time players have had with the game, because you'll see different things. Brand new players to the game have a harder time attacking, and then that flips at the high level, at the highest levels, or people with a lot of experience actually usually win more when they're attacking. So we look at it a lot. Right now we feel pretty good about most of the map balance. Hanamura in particular is very well balanced, at least statistically. It's sort of a 50-50. Volskaya, it's interesting that you bring that up as one that's easily defended. That is our second biggest problem map right now in terms of attackers have a great advantage there, and the ratio's a little bit further in the attacker range. Well, I feel like mostly you're correct. It's a really great defensible area. You start to see a lot of very coordinated pushes push that point, and almost it's always taken with like a 4, 5, or 6 person final push. I don't think the beta has fully learned all the flank routes either yet, or I shouldn't say learn, but embrace.
Yeah.
There is no reason. A lot of times when people say, well, wow, there's these choke points and we can't get through the choke points, most of the time the answer is either you're this crazy hero who can blink 30 meters, like please do that and don't
choke
stop.
is no longer relevant. Yeah.
Or like especially in Volskaya, in Hanamura, there are so many ways to get around that don't involve going through a main choke. So I think as people learn the maps a little bit more, we'll see the balance. But obviously, if the win-loss ratios are skewed too far in either direction, we'll take action. We actually added in Hanamura, if you're an attacker and you're coming into the dojo, you know how there's that balcony on the upper right over here? There's like that staircase that goes in. There's like that fish statue out on the side. That stairwell wasn't there early on, and we had
it wasn't there at BlizzCon last year.
Yeah,
right. For example,
actually, that's a good. Yeah, that's great. It wasn't there at BlizzCon, and we had a huge defender advantage, and we sort of opened up a new route. We did the same thing with Temple of Anubis.
We completely redid Point B after BlizzCon.
Yeah, we totally opened it up. So we will take action if we feel like the maps are skewing too far. Yeah, the opening the wall and add the stairs took all of 5 minutes. It took longer to think of it than it did to actually do it.
Aaron Keller, who's the assistant game director, I don't know, both of our level designers are just remarkable developers, and like you think it's like this telepathy. You just think it, and it barely leaves your mouth, and they know how to.
They build so fast, and
great.
there's this fun process that we call the over-the-shoulder design, where if it's Aaron or Dave, because they're both so good with the tool, you're like, I was thinking of this place with a bridge, and they're literally there, like building it for you. You're like, yes.
It's just like Inception, you know. You're just like trying to model. You're the architect.
And then you feel talented as a level designer, even though you're not one.
Yeah.
50-50 is like the holy grail, and I think it's awesome. It's unlikely that the maps are ever going to be 50-50, and I think you have to also look at that, players new to the game, like less than 10 hours played, 10 to 20 hours played, and over 20 hours played, and then never mind skill levels. So the maps are going to be a little bit all over the place, and you have to slice the pie in a lot of different ways. If they had to skew in one direction, we would prefer them to skew a little more towards attack than defend. We feel like a loss on attack is not as fun as a loss on defense. That's anecdotal, emotional. There's no science behind that. It's just a gut thing. And then some of our pure payload maps are a little bit different, where sometimes those can skew more towards defense, but as long as they're ending where it's like, we had the payload on the final point in Dorado for 2 minutes, and all we needed to do was push it. Like, those are fantastic matches, and they feel great. It's when, if the payload's like in Watchpoint Gibraltar not getting to the first checkpoint, then we'd be concerned. But according to our stats right now, that happens less than 5% of the time that it actually stalls out there.
Well, exactly. Well, as long as it's satisfying, right? As long as you leave that experience, positive. And I think that affects a bunch of our design as well. Like our hero design, if you die in a particularly epic way to D.Va because she launches herself in the air and then pops her ult, and you're trying to dodge this falling mech that's about to explode, and you don't quite make it, and you die and get thrown across the map into a wall, you'll be like, that was pretty cool. Like, I died, but that was really satisfying. And I think it goes the same for the stats. Like, we're really just trying to craft a satisfying experience that also kind of informs how we do our matchmaking, right? We're trying to make sure you're having a satisfying experience. And you have to play a lot against the psychology of the players in order to pull that off. And that's why we gather the metrics that we do. And that's why you gather kind of the subjective input from players as well.
Wow.
I'll let you take that one.
Well, it depends your feelings on Harrison Jones, because I would think he is the greatest adventurer.
You're mildly biased on that one.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm old school World of Warcraft, so I'm going to say she is a great adventurer.
Yeah, I'll have to echo that.
UFO Commander, we are the future. We're gonna take you to the future. Then we're gonna get to the future, where everyone talks like they're from the future. UFO Commander, we are the future. We're gonna take you to the future. Then we're gonna get to the future, where everyone talks like they're from the future. Hello there, old sport. Me, just got the number one out of the land. The bee's knees, the tip-top shape, I'm swell shape, and I'm gonna make a fortune for my ass for moves. Shut the balls up! UFO Commander, we are the future. We're gonna take you to the future. Then we're gonna get to the future, where everyone talks like they're from. Shut the balls up! UFO Commander, we are the future. We're gonna take you to the future. Then we're gonna get to the future, where everyone talks like they're from. Shut the balls up! Give me that! No!
Actually, him and Nessingwary